20 years ago, a prehistoric documentary about extinction, produced by Impossible Pictures, graced our screens for the first time. Despite some criticism at the time and overall poor viewership figures, it has come to be regarded as one of the best prehistoric documentaries ever made. This video is not about that show. For you see, 20 years later, Impossible Pictures is back, with another show about extinction, and this time, I have some concerns. At time of recording, only 5 of the 8 episodes are out, and I'm not going to do a breakdown of the entire series. I'm sure in a few months the Unnatural History channel will have an hour-long video covering that like they did with Prehistoric Planet Ice Age. I just want to focus on one episode in particular, the one I have a slightly more than average amount of background knowledge for. Episode 5, When the Forests Collapsed. Set in the late Carboniferous, at first glance this appears to be an improvement on Impossible Pictures' previous ventures into the Carboniferous. There's no overtly misplaced wildlife, no giant scorpion or Crassigyrinus from the early Carboniferous, and there's no giant spiders either. The episode is set 305 million years ago, which is a few million years after our record of Dendromaya and before Eriops, but there are gaps in the fossil record. When you're working with deep time, I don't think it's unreasonable to depict an animal surviving further through time or evolving earlier. What you can't do, however, is directly contradict the fossil record. Early on in the episode, we hear that
herbivores have yet to evolve, so the vegetation can grow untouched by all but insects.
The thing is, this is only a million or so years before the first known Edaphosaurus, and its predecessor Melanedaphodon would have already been munching both leaves and insects millions of years before. You also have the early diadectid amphibians like Desmatodon with its herbivorous teeth. Granted, leaf eaters weren't as widespread as they are today, but to imply they didn't exist at the time is just wrong. But surviving Earth isn't as much about evolution as it is about extinction, and this is the part that really grinds my gears. The episode follows 3 parents, the amphibians Diplocaulus and Eriops, and the synapsid Dendromaya. Described in 2019, Dendromaya is only known from 2 individuals found together in a tree stump, one 4 times larger than the other, which might represent the earliest evidence of parental care in the fossil record. We don't know about the parental care of the amphibian species, so like any similar documentary, Surviving Earth uses modern references to speculate, showing Diplocaulus as an attentive parent similar to a poisoned dart frog, while the Eriops abandon their eggs after laying, like the common toad. In any normal documentary like Prehistoric Planet, this would be a fine example of speculative biology. However, this is about extinction, so as the forests start to dry up and the drought sets in, the Eriops hatchlings die in the heat. Meanwhile, our plucky Diplocaulus is able to save her babies because she's an attentive mother. According to Surviving Earth, Eriops went extinct before it even evolved, as a consequence of something completely made up. Most Eriops fossils are from the early Permian. It's literally a contemporary of Dimetrodon. In fact, the fossil record tells us that every animal shown in the Carboniferous scenes is known to have survived into the Permian, with the exception, ironically, of Dendromaya. So much for good parenting being the winning survival strategy. Every documentary since Walking with Dinosaurs has understood that you have to make some stuff up to tell an engaging story, and the best way to do that is to copy real behaviours from the natural world. The problem with Surviving Earth is that it pathologizes its own fantasy. We see the same thing happening in episode 2, where Ischigualastia is shown going extinct due to being reliant on the seed fern Dacroidium, like a Triassic panda. Assigning an animal a fictitious behaviour is one thing, but assigning an entirely fictitious extinction undermines the show as an educational tool. And you know which show didn't make up any of its extinctions? Environmental change is a key driver in multiple episodes, but the way it takes out species isn't complete nonsense. Smilodon dies out because it's too heavily built to chase down a small deer in an open grassland, which makes sense given the locomotory capabilities implied by the animal's skeleton. The woolly mammoth population declines because they can't eat conifers, which is based on their fossilised teeth being adapted for grazing. Deinosuchus is wiped out by the expansion of the West Interior Seaway, because the freshwater Judith River Formation in which it is found underlies the marine bear paw shale in which Deinosuchus is absent. And that's only when the show deals with actual extinction events. Episodes 3 and 5 represent localised natural disasters that threaten a specific population of animals, but not necessarily the species as a whole. And crucially, these are events that we know happened from the fossil record. Despite its many inaccuracies, Prehistoric Park does not make up extinction events, with the possible exception of the terror bird, and it remains to be seen if Surviving Earth is an improvement in that department. Thank you for watching. I was originally planning to do a much more self-indulgent 20-year anniversary video for Prehistoric Park plus 10-year anniversary for the channel, but I didn't have enough inspiration or time, so this one was kind of unexpected. And you know what else is unexpected? The channel Our World Unlocked uploading all of Prehistoric Park for free on YouTube, except for episode 1 for some reason. Shout out to the channel Ancient Realms who managed to download a version of the Prehistoric Park opening without the titles that the Our World Unlocked channel uploaded by mistake. Luckily, the internet never forgets. Link to their video in the description. Also, go and watch the 2023 BBC series Earth, particularly the episode Green, which does a far better job of explaining the Carboniferous rainforest collapse than Surviving Earth did. I've got a couple more gripes with Surviving Earth, and examples of Prehistoric Park and Walking with Dinosaurs doing things better. So if